Hi friends, so we are about to start our slow flow stretch. I'm going to get you to grab a couple of props before we begin. You'll just need two cushions. So I just have some kind of couch cushions or cushions that I keep on my couch here, but you can also use pillows from your bed. It really doesn't matter, but you want them to be relatively the same size cushion, and then also just a folded blanket or towel. So if you could gather those supplies, and then I'll meet you on your mat in just a moment and we'll begin. Alright, so once you are ready to go, you can set up with maybe placing that blanket or towel just at the top of your mat, relatively flat, just for a nice cozy surface underneath your head. And we'll just take the two cushions off to the side for now. You won't need those until a little bit later, so just bring them somewhere where they're not in your space, not taking up too much room around your mat or your setup. Alright, and then when you're ready, just make your way down onto your back. Finding a comfortable shape. Now, sometimes when my lower back is feeling a little bit sore, I like to keep my knees bent because I find sometimes that lying flat can feel just like a little bit agitating for my lower back. But you're welcome to find whatever shape today that feels good to you, whether it be this shape here, or you could choose feet together, knees apart if that is really comfortable for you, or maybe just choosing a more traditional Shavasana shape. And we're going to take this first moment of class to work on the breath. So I'm going to ask that you place one hand on the lower belly and the other hand kind of on the upper chest area. And we're going to start out here not by changing anything about your breathing. I want to start it simply by observing. So using your power of observation just to notice the flow, the movement, the rhythm of your breathing as we start. You can notice whether your breaths are equal or if they're sporadic. If there is an emphasis on the inhale or on the exhale, or maybe the breaths are equal in both parts. Are you breathing through your nose, or are you breathing through your mouth? And are you sending that breath more into the upper portion of the chest or down towards the lower belly? And then once you feel like you've fully gotten a sense for where you're beginning today, you can slowly start to alter the breath, really kind of shaping the breath and forming the breath into what you feel suits you best for this practice. So of the breaths are short, maybe starting to find some length. If there's an emphasis on the inhale or the exhale, maybe trying to shift it so that both parts of the breath are equal. If you're breathing only into the upper chest, see if you can extend the breath all the way down to the palm on your belly. And then just taking a moment to settle into this new form of breathing. Slowly start to wiggle fingers and wiggle toes. And gently roll out the wrists. And start to roll out your ankles. Let's bring the inner seams of the legs together. Point through your toes, and as you inhale, reach your arms above your head. Nice long stretch. And exhale to soften and release. One more time. Inhale, nice long stretch, finding that nice length from top of body to the very end. And exhale again to soften. Let's bring the right knee all the way up into the chest. And then holding onto that right knee with both hands. Actively pulling the shoulder blades into the ground. Allow your head to be heavy on your mat here, on your blanket or towel. You're also gently pressing that left thigh into the ground. Almost finding a bit of pull in opposite directions here. The right knee pulls in as the left leg pulls along. All we're going to do from this shape is switch the grip to the back of the right thigh. Start to send your right heel up towards the ceiling as you pull your right toes down towards your face. You should start to feel a lengthening sensation running up the back of the right leg. Now if you feel it only in the lower part of that right leg, press even more up through the heel, and the more you pull through down through the toes, the more that stretch will start to extend up to the calf as well. And let's bend that right knee. Place the right foot on the ground just behind your sit bones. Now cross your left ankle over the right knee. So there should be kind of a triangle shape between your two legs here. So it's the ankle on the knee, not the knee over the knee. Make sure you have that. Then draw your legs in. We're going to again reach for the right thigh. And as you draw the legs in, you should start to feel a stretch through the outside edge of your left hip. The more that that left knee starts to rotate away from your body, the more intense that stretch through the hip might become. So we're finding external rotation through the left leg. Very gently release. Bring your right foot back to the mat. Keep your left leg as is. Let's take arms out to a T shape. Arms are right at shoulder height. And let's slowly lower both the legs over to your right side. So the whole outside edge of your right leg should be down. It's the left leg that is lifted. So your knee is pointing up to the ceiling here. And then look out over your left shoulder for just a very gentle twist. Into the arms. Let's inhale, bring the legs back to center. And as you exhale, uncross the legs. Bring your arms alongside your body. Walk your heels right up to your fingertips here. So we're setting up for a little bridge. I'm just going to move my tea a little bit out of the way. Don't want to knock it open. And then when you're ready, we're going to do a little bit of a flowy movement here. So as you inhale, start to lift your hips, reach your arms up and over your head for the floor behind you. And then as you exhale, lower the hips down, arms come back alongside your body. 2 more. Inhale, lift, reaching up through the hips, arms go up above your head. And exhale to lower all the way back down. One last time. Inhale, lift. And exhale to lower, coming right back down. Arms are going to come back out to the T shape. This time float your knees into your chest. We're going to again lower both knees over to the right. And then turn to look out over the left shoulder. Just a slightly deeper twist than before. If you're feeling like exploring a slightly deeper version of this twist, you can start to bring your your right leg a little bit further down and then kick your left foot up towards your right hand. So finding a bit of a bind. Back to the breath. We want to maintain those full inhales and exhales throughout the class. And let's release. Come back through center with the knees. And we'll keep the left knee in as we extend the right leg long. Catch your left shin with both hands. Holding onto it nice and tight. Shoulders down. Face is nice and relaxed here. And just breathing. And then we'll switch, bringing the right hand to the back of that left thigh. Starting to press the left heel up towards the ceiling. Again, we really want to press through the heel, pull down through the toes so that the stretch is not just through the back of the thigh, but also all the way up to that calf muscle as well. And really trying to immerse yourself in the sensation of each and every stretch. The biggest benefit to a slow flow stretch, aside from the physical stretching, is actually the mental benefit of really taking the time to just notice what's going on within your body. To kind of give yourself that time of day to observe, to take it in, to process anything that's going on, and to let go of everything that is not relevant to your body in this very moment. Let's bend that left knee, place the foot on the ground just behind your sit bones. Then cross your right ankle over the left knee. Again, you want to keep that space between the legs and draw the legs in for thread the needle. Your right arm is between the legs, left hand wraps around. Softening down through the shoulders. Again, you want to think about sending your right knee just slightly away from your body if possible. And the stretch should be through that right hip, through the glute muscle. Gently release the foot back to the ground. Keeping right leg as is, arms unfold out into that T shape. We'll lower both legs over to the left. So again, the outside edge of your left leg is down, but the right knee points to the ceiling. Then we're looking out over our right shoulder for just a very gentle twist. Let's draw the legs back through center. And from here, let's gently uncross the legs. Arms come alongside your body. Again, we're reaching for the heels with the fingertips. Walk the heels up to your hands. We're going to again do a similar movement to the last time. But this time, as you start to lift the hips, take your arms out to the side. Sweep them all the way up and around to over your head, and then all the way back down as if you are making kind of a snow angel on the ground. And two more. Inhale, arms sweep out to the side and all the way up, and exhale to lower right back down. Very last time. Inhale, reach. And exhale, lowering back down. Let's keep arms out in that T shape. Float the knees into the chest, and then right away lowering knees over to the left. Gaze goes over to your right. And again, if you want that slightly more intense version of a twist, you can start to send your left leg a little lower on your mat. And then work on catching your right foot with your left hand on the other side. From here, let's inhale, bring the legs back to center. And as you exhale, take your knees wide, catch hold of the pinky toe edges of your feet or your ankles for happy baby pose. Option to kind of stay centered, option to rock from side to side. And if your feet are just too far away, again, you can always grab your ankles or kind of shins here. I'm looking for a bit of a stretch to the inner thighs here. You may feel it elsewhere depending on where you hold the most tension through your hips or your legs. And let's bring those legs back together, hands to the back of the thighs. Start to rock up and down your mat. Let's rock right through to tabletop, coming to hands and knees. We want the wrists beneath the shoulders, knees beneath the hips here. Fingers are spread nice and wide. And as you inhale, soften your belly down, lift your chest up, look up. And as you exhale, press the floor away from you, rounding your spine, look back between your legs. 2 more, inhale, rolling through, belly down, chest up, chin up. And exhale, press the floor away from you as you round. 1 more time, inhale. And exhale. From here, let's inhale back to a neutral spine. Keeping your hips above your knees, start to walk your hands forward. Let's find a puppy pose. So allowing the chest to sink as the hips stay high here. You can allow your head to come to the ground if it reaches. From this pose, look between your hands, push into the elbows to shift your weight forward, and then come right down onto your belly here. If that blanket you find is in your way or annoying you, you are welcome to move it. But from here, we're going to start with the elbows underneath the shoulders. Forearms separated, shoulder width apart, and really just pushing the floor away from you with the elbows, starting to lift the chest and maybe look up. Now, if you're looking up, it is important, we don't want to just drop our head back. We want to imagine really reaching for the ceiling with the top of your head and just lifting the chin slightly. So you shouldn't feel like there's a kink in your neck or anything. Nice and long spine. Just opening through the front side of the body here. And if you'd like to take it a little further for our last 2 breaths, you can lift the elbows and roll up that tiny bit higher. And let's gently lower all the way back to the belly. I'm going to get you to start by taking your right arm out beside you at shoulder height. So there's 2 variations here. If you have a very open chest, you're going to want to bend your elbow so that the forearm is actually reaching forward, not to the side. But either way, your elbow is in line with your shoulder. So it should not be by your ribs, it should not be by your head. Elbows directly up beside you. Bring your left hand beneath the left shoulder and bend your left knee so your foot is up towards the ceiling. And in one movement, press into that left hand, start to roll your chest open to face the left side room. See if you can relax your head on the ground here. We're looking for a stretch to the right side of the chest and shoulder area. Breathe into whatever sensation you find. And then we'll roll back onto the belly. And take the left arm out again. Either straight out beside you, that's the version you would need if you have a tight chest. If your chest is quite open, bend to 90 degrees. We're going to slide the right hand in, bend that right knee, and roll the chest open to the other side. Again, try and rest your head here. Gently rolling back onto the belly. Let's bring the hands in beside the rib cage to start. And then take your hands just a little bit wider than your mat. Tense your fingertips, point the elbows up. And as you inhale, lift your chest and your belly, look over your right shoulder. And as you exhale, gently lower. This time, inhale, lifting up, look out over your left shoulder. And exhale, gently lower. Let's bend the knees to bring the heels towards a seat. Inhale to lift up, again looking over the right shoulder. Might be a more intense stretch through the belly. And exhale, lower. This time again, inhale, lifting up. Look out over the left shoulder. And exhale, lower. Bring both hands in beside the ribs. You can straighten the legs once more. Press into hands and knees. Roll all the way back to child's pose, sitting hips to heels. Let's walk both hands over to the right side of your mat until you feel a stretch to the left side of your body. Come through center over to the left until you feel a stretch to the right side of your body. And let's walk hands back through to center. Inhale forward to tabletop. And tuck your toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. You want to make sure your feet are not on your blanket or your towel. It's fine if the heels gently touch it, but you don't want the toes to be on it. Take a moment here just to pedal out your feet. Sway your hips, shake your head yes, shake your head no. Really just do whatever movements feel good to you here. Then we're going to take a moment to walk the hands all the way back to the feet. Shifting your weight back so that the feet are flat. Again, the heels should be on the floor now, not the blanket. And then you have a couple options here. We want the feet to be hip width apart. If you're not sure what hip width apart is for you, the fists would just fit between your hands, and fists would fit just between your feet. And that's generally a great measure of hip width. So you want to have the feet separated and parallel. And the first option is to hold onto your elbows. Second option is for you to use your peace fingers to hook your big toes. Third option is palms face up beneath the feet. Now, as you may notice, when I turn sideways, my legs are not perfectly straight. So I don't want to be here, actually. I want to be bent knees just slightly. Belly softening towards the thighs, letting head and upper body hang heavy. So instead of being here, be here. That doesn't matter if you're fully bent over like I am, but keep that bend in the knees. Allow yourself to just hang. You can shift slightly forward and back on your feet. Just notice where your weight is, where you get the best stretch, and then pausing there. And from here, let's bring right hand down to the ground in front of the right foot. Now starting to straighten out the legs a little bit, lifting up. We're going to bend just the right knee towards the right elbow. Lift your left arm to the ceiling to find a bit of a twist. Might feel an intense sensation through the outside edge of that left leg. And then we'll come back through center, left hand comes down, left knee starts to bend, right arm goes up. And let's come back through center. Walk your hands just slightly forward, bend the knees, keeping toes tucked under. Bring the knees down. So the first option, if your knees are quite sensitive, is to bring that blanket or towel beneath the knees. Now, as you sit back onto the heels, you may notice this can be quite intense for the feet. So the first option is to lean slightly forward. You can even bring your hands to the ground here if that's most comfortable. Second option is hands on thighs, sit tall. Third option is to lean slightly back. And we're breathing in this shape for 3. For 2. Try to release any tension through your face, release tension through the hands. And 1, bring your hands down just on either side of the knees. We're going to shift our weight back onto the toes fully. Now the first option is to keep your fingertips down to help you balance. Second option is hands to heart center for an extra challenge, maybe even closing the eyes a little bit here for 3. Trying to find that centered space. Really feeling your sense of gravity, that interaction with the floor for 2. And 1, reach your hands forward, knees go wide here. And then walk your hands forward so that you're kind of in a lower crouched position. And from here, we're gonna step or hop your hands wide, your feet wider than your hands, sorry. And then sink the hips back down. So we wanna find Malasana. So for me, I have a really low Malasana, so I can actually even sit when it's on a surface, especially with a blanket folded. Now, if you would like to do this, you can sit on your folded blanket. You can also grab your cushions here, or if you want to float your Malasana, so not sitting on anything, that is also a great option. Hands to heart center, elbows to the inner knees, lengthening up through the spine, maybe softening or closing the eyes once more. Let's bring right arm in front of your right shin over to the right. Left arm is going to go up to the ceiling here. First option is to stay centered. Second option is to wrap your left arm around your low back. Third option is to work on connecting the hands behind your back, finding a half bind here. And see if you can take your gaze up over your left shoulder towards the ceiling. And we'll just switch sides. Left arm in front of left knee, right arm goes up. Option to stay, option for right arm to wrap behind the back, option for the left hand to meet it. Let's release. Bring your hands to the ground just in front of you. We're going to shift our weight into the toes. Lift your hips up and then place the heels down. We want the feet parallel to each other. So think of the long edges of your feet, the big toe edges of the feet being straight to one another. toes point forward. And we're gonna start here, just in center. One hand on each ankle, gently pulling your upper body down, allowing your head to be heavy. Coming back to the breath if you've kind of ventured elsewhere with your thoughts. Let's take both hands over to the right ankle now. The whole upper body swivels towards that right leg. Keep your head heavy. We're just looking for a little bit more of an intense stretch to that right leg. Let's release the right leg, hands wander over to the left side, upper body follows to the left leg. And then we'll come back to center. Place your hands on your mat. Hopefully you're still facing forward on your mat. And we're gonna walk the feet back, downward facing dog. From here, we're gonna do just a little bit of hip opening. Let's inhale, right leg up. And exhale, step your right foot between your hands, left knee drops down. Maybe that left knee is on a blanket or a cushion. First option is to inhale, reach your right arm just straight to the ceiling. Option to exhale and catch hold of your left foot with your right hand. From here, let's release. Bring your right hand inside your right foot. Just heel toe your right foot a little wider. Option to sink the hips and lift the chest. Option to lower onto the forearms. Back up onto the arms. Let's tuck the back toes and lift it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg up. And exhale, step your foot between your hands. Right knee drops down. First option is to inhale just the left arm up. Second option is to exhale and reach back for that right foot with your hand. Either way, try not to collapse down through that right shoulder. Really keep pushing the floor away from you with the right hand. And let's release. Bring your left hand inside your left foot again. Shuffle that left foot just a tiny bit wider. Option to sink the hips, lift the chest. Option to lower onto the forearms. Once more, let's tuck the toes, lift the knee, step back, downward facing dog from the palms. And this time, let's just move the blanket or towel out of the way if it's there. And then we'll inhale, right leg up to the ceiling. And exhale, pigeon pose. Shin comes down behind the wrists, lowering down onto the forearms. You can bring that blanket or towel back if you'd like, and you can bring it underneath your upper body if you'd like. If you want even more support, grab an extra pillow and bring that beneath you as well. We want to try and soften down here as much as possible through the upper body. The more you can let go of the effort, the more effective your stretch actually becomes. And you definitely want to feel the stretch, but if it's too intense, your muscles actually start to clench to resist you going too far into a stretch. So you want to make sure that it's not too deep. It is just the right amount. Think Goldilocks style. Not too hot, not too cold, just right. And we'll slowly come back up onto the palms, tuck the toes, step back, downward facing. Second side, inhale, left leg goes up, and exhale, pigeon. So your left knee should be wide, left knee towards left wrist. And the left heel swoops over to the right. And again, lowering down, maybe right on top of those cushions and pillows. And just releasing here. Connecting to the breath. Really try to breathe fully, breathe slowly. Something a little bit different this time. Come back up onto the palms. Take your left hand out beside you, sit over to your left hip. And sweep your right leg all the way forward. So you're finding yourself just in a seated shape here. We're going to set up for a closing posture. So I want you to grab your towel or blanket and fold it into a really long kind of tube shape. So what you want to have is it be long enough that it goes kind of from the top of your head to the lower back. So it should kind of come to right above the hips. And then it shouldn't be too wide. The kind of more narrow it is, the more it's going to force you into just a very gentle back bend. So we're going to have a tiny chest opener. So once you have that set up, lie it down behind you. Again, leave a couple inches from your seat to the blanket. And then you're going to grab your cushions. Now mine are fairly flat, so I like to kind of fold them in center so that they're doubled up. And then I'm going to bring the soles of my feet together, knees out in a diamond shape, and have one pillow under each knee. And the closer you kind of slide them in, you really want it to support the thighs, so don't think so much about just the knees being supported. Get them right under your thighs there. And then once you're ready, just walking yourself back, lowering yourself down on top of your blanket, and then on top of the cushions. Now, if the blanket doesn't feel comfortable, you're more than welcome to just remove it. But if it does feel comfortable, your back should be supported, your head should be supported, so your head should not be dropping to your mat like this with your chin up. So you want to make sure your spine is long. Then you can just take your arms out to the side here. And we'll take our last moment of this practice just to settle into the shape. Now, this is a shape that involves a lot of opening. There's a lot of opening through the chest, and I don't mean you likely feel a deep stretch. I mean that you're physically very open. There's a lot of opening through the hips. So sometimes when there's a lot of fear or uncertainty, our inclination is to close off, to protect. And we do this physically as well, because if you're being attacked by a bear or something, you probably wouldn't just lie down and sprawl out and be like, come on, feast on my organs. You'd want to hide yourself. You want to protect yourself. So sometimes opening up into these really broad, wide shapes can be a little bit physiologically uncomfortable, especially if you're experiencing fear and uncertainty, which a lot of us are right now. But if you can, if there's emotions that are coming up for you, see if you can let them go. Or at least start to allow them to start to soften, start to melt away from you. They probably aren't really serving you right now. So whatever you feel like you are ready to let go of, starting to allow that to melt away from your body. Allow any fear, uncertainty, frustration, exhaustion to flow out of your limbs, out of your torso, and into the ground. You can even imagine just a soft rain falling over your body, just washing everything away. I'm going to leave you here for today in this shape. I really encourage you to stay here as long as you'd like, as long as feels good to you. And on that note, thank you all so much for joining me, and I hope to see you all again on your mat. Please feel free to send me a DM with any questions, concerns, feedback. I'm always happy to hear from you. Namaste, everyone.